Kaniswa on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
Hey, what's up, angels? It's Kaniswa. So, guys, what's going on today? So, today on Turban Tuesdays, we got two special people. Now, y'all know this level of YouTube content, I just normally don't really touch on, but because I was asked my opinion by someone on Instagram, we're gonna do it. I love these two young ladies. Let's start out with that. I really do. I like their personalities specifically. So let's start. The first young lady is Miss, and y'all know her, Miss Karrine Steffans. Honey, Karrine went live on the IG. So Karrine said basically they were talking to her about her first book. As we all know, that book, Confessions of a Video Vixen. Okay, I read the book. To be honest, I read the book 2 times back in the day. It's been a while since I read it, but I read it twice. And for those of us who actually took the time to read the book, we know that book wasn't necessarily a tell-all. The book was about her life. Because when you open the book up and you read the first chapter and the first whole part of the book, it starts out with her talking about her childhood and growing up out in the islands and stuff like that. And what she went through. I do remember her saying she really loved her grandmother. Her grandmother was like her saving grace. She really loved her grandmother. She had not a great relationship with her mother. Okay. She did make it very clear that in the book and in the IG live that she doesn't deal with her mother at all. Okay. So yeah, it starts there and then it goes into, her coming up, and as a teenager, it talks about, her being raped, molested, being kidnapped, basically. I think they were going to the mall with a friend who she thought she could trust, but really the friend wasn't a friend. And they kidnapped her and they held her for like 24 hours and it was a mess. Karrine, I'm going to say this here. Whenever they get ready to do the life story or biopic of Karrine Steffans, it's going to be good. Because Karrine done been through some things. And Karrine do got a story to tell. I'm happy, that she didn't just make the book strictly tell all and everything like that. So that's just my little quick summary of the beginning of the book. But nevertheless, Karrine was on IG. And I'm going to start out with this right here. I do not encourage any young lady to do what Karrine did. I don't encourage you to sleep around with this one and that one and that one and this one. I don't encourage that. I do not encourage that at all. Do not do that. Sleeping around with different guys, different men, that's not a good look. It's not. I don't encourage that. But nevertheless, something I also want to say, you got to keep in mind that sometimes the women you think are sleeping around, a lot of the time those are the women that are not sleeping around. And sometimes the women who you think are not sleeping around actually are. Okay. Karrine said in the IG live and she elaborated on the whole thing of her not being ahead of her time. And I could see where she's coming with that. There has been many other women like Karrine before. So yes, she's right. She's not ahead of her time. And I do understand what she was saying also in the live, that people didn't believe her then, but now all of a sudden, oh, everybody believes her. You know, okay, let's see. Now, what do I like about Karrine Steffans? I do like her personality of just not giving two F's up about what anybody has to say or think. I do think that that is a character trait that everybody should have. You should not care what nobody thinks. We should not care. Be honest. Sidebar conversation. As it relates to me, so many people threw so much negativity towards my way in regards to this YouTube platform, and about how I didn't need to start a YouTube channel. I needed to get a life and get a real job. So I get that so much about Karrine. You cannot care about what nobody thinks of you or even has to say or anything like that. Now, I also like the fact that Karrine just be unbothered. She be unbothered, and she be so unbothered. She's not paying you any attention, and that until she snaps at you and tell you, "Hey, I don't give a fuck about what the hell you say." I love those two things. She's unbothered. She doesn't care about what people thinks. As it relates to Confessions of a Video Vixen, I like the fact that she told the truth. She put it on out there. She did what she did, and she owned up to her part. Now, going back to the interview that she did with Tyra Banks, she did make it very, very clear there were some things that she did leave out. Sometimes I do wonder, like, well, what else did you leave out? Because there was a lot in that book. But nevertheless, yeah, I like the fact that she owns her stuff. She did state that the first book, Confessions of a Video Vixen, was definitely therapy for her. Being able just to put things out, and let's be honest, sometimes writing can be a way to release a lot of stuff, be it book writing, songwriting, whatever. Just, it's a good way to release things. So I think Confessions also, in a way, helped her. Not just for gossip, not just for clout, not just for putting things out to the public, but I think it did help her. Something I didn't know, she stated that Confessions of a Video Vixen was clearly the first book, and then I remember Vindicated was the second book, but altogether it's a total of six books. I didn't know it was that many books. Like, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, Karrine, what more do you have to spill? What more tea you got, girl? But yeah, so I'm going to, when I get time, I'm going to get the second book, Vindicated, and I will be reading, because I have heard, was it Cocktails with Queens? I went back and watched the old episode with the Queens, and I remember Claudia Jordan stated that she did get the second book. And honey, according to Miss Claudia, honey, it's a page turner. And I know that first book was definitely, I was in it. I was like, ooh, what happened next? So definitely, I think Karrine does have a gift, not just with telling her business, but I really, really see that she really does have a gift with writing. You know, being an author, that's really her thing. So I like that part. Let's see what else. Something that Karrine did touch on also is that being in Los Angeles, it is considered to be a big city, but technically speaking, it's a small town. I know, as y'all know, here on this channel, I have my bachelor's degree in music business, and I also hold my master's degree in entertainment business. And I do remember in college at Full Sail, that was one of the things that was definitely drilled in our heads and in our brains, is that the entertainment industry is a small industry. It's not as big as we think it is. Everyone knows everybody. Which might have been the reasons why Karrine kind of do a lot of the stuff that she knows about people. So, as I did say, Karrine did speak on the Tyra Banks interview that she did back in the day. And I did go back and I did watch that interview. And looking back on it, to me, in my personal opinion, I feel like Tyra did kind of come off just a little bit like a bit of a bully. But then at the same time, it did kind of come off like she was really taking it real personal. Had I been Tyra, I would have kind of, those areas, I really would have toned it down and just really just did the interview. You know, just did the interview and just interviewed Karrine and got it done with. But yes, she did kind of come across a little bit like she was honestly trying to bully her. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say too much of what I'm thinking, y'all. But it did kind of come across like she was kind of bullying her a little bit. And I was just like, Tyra, no. Oh, God. I want to take a second to step away from Confessions of a Video Vixen and all of her books. Just in society, we have the tendency to blame the woman, blame the women, and hold women accountable and don't hold men accountable. For just as an example, married men, when they want to have what we would call a side piece or a side chick, like all of the blame gets put on the other woman, but none of the blame gets put on the man. In a marriage, hey, you can't just look at the other woman. You got to put the blame on the man because it takes two to tango. So as it relates to Confessions of a Video Vixen, I have the same mentality that I had back then when I read the first book. And that is, yeah, Karrine did play her part. And I do like the fact that she owned up to what she did. But why is there so much heat on her and not enough heat being put on these men? Specifically the ones that were married. When you are married, you decided to be married and have a significant other. So your loyalty and your everything should be to the person that you're married to. Now, when you decide you want to go out here and you want to have a side piece and a side this and a side that, you know, you got to take some of the heat. We can't put everything off on the side woman. It takes two to tango. So, the men are just as guilty. They're just as guilty. They're just as guilty. The only difference is they just don't want to own up to it. And in society, we have to stop doing it. We got to put the blame really where it goes. It goes both on both the men and Karrine. But Karrine has already owned up to hers. How many years ago? What, 10, 12 years ago? Maybe longer than that. She's already owned up to her part. So that's just something that still to this day, accountability. We got to learn to, men, y'all got to take accountability for your shit. Okay? All right, so that's in regards to the men that are married. Now, my thoughts on the single guys. Yeah, if you have a girlfriend, you do need to be loyal to your girlfriend. But this is something that I do wish a lot of girlfriends would understand. You are a girlfriend. You are nobody's wife. With that being said, you kind of gotta, I ain't saying take it and deal with it, but you're a girlfriend. You're not a wife. And we're going to leave it like that. All right, so all in all, I mean, Karrine, from what I'm seeing here on the IG, Karrine's thoughts and opinions have not changed. Karrine does not care. Karrine does not care. Karrine is unbothered, and Karrine, she owned up to what she did. Something else that I did think about as well. And I've noticed, like, with a lot of men and guys who she continues to write books about, like, there's no need for them to really be mad and be upset and be in their feelings. And the reasons why I say that is no reason for them to be mad or upset or in their feelings, because y'all know what it is when it comes down to dealing with her. You know, you go tiptoe out there with her, you know your name is going to come up in one of those books that she will eventually write. I view, honestly, at this point, I kind of view Karrine the way I view Taylor Swift. Think about it, when guys are in a relationship with Taylor Swift and they do a dirty, or the relationship goes sour, Taylor Swift will sit down with her guitar, her pen and her pad, and she's going to write a song about it. And she's going to put it out to the public, and she's going to do a video, and she's going to sell it and sing it and perform it all over the world. So I'm like this. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Men and guys who are in the entertainment industry, when you see Karrine, you know what it is. You go out there with her. You do your thing with her. Do not be shocked or surprised if you come up in one of the books. If your name is called, there's no need to be shocked or surprised. You know, it is what it is. You know what you're dealing with. So, hey, whatever. So, guys, that's just my little tidbit on Karrine and, okay, Confessions of a Video Vixen, Vindicated, and everything else. All of the other books that I have not read, because there's 6 of them, I will be slowly getting to them. But I'm definitely going to get Vindicated because your girl is curious, okay? I want the tea, Karrine. So, my next young lady who I love her personality, Caresha. So, we all know what the deal is with Caresha and specifically Puffy. Now, Caresha, I love Caresha's personality. And even JT, I love JT's personality. Keeping it real, Caresha is from Miami, Florida, and so is JT, and I am from Jacksonville, Florida. So I understand that Florida girl thing that we got. Okay. So Caresha, listen to the interview that she did with Saucy. First, let me start with Saucy. What I like Saucy as an interviewer. I think I would like to see him do more of it. Interviewing people, doing like sit-down interviews. I would love to see Saucy do more of that. And I want to see him take it a little bit more seriously. Maybe going and getting some coaching and stuff done on it just to polish him up and spit shine it. But I really like Saucy doing that. I think Saucy probably is just a really good person just to sit down and talk to. That's the vibe that Saucy gave. So shout out to Saucy Santana. So now finally to Caresha. My first thing here on my notes, Caresha stated that she was Diddy's biggest cheerleader and she made him her brand. Now, I don't think that Caresha made Puffy her brand. I don't think she made him her brand. What I do think and what I do feel is the part when she said people were telling her she thinks she had her something so big and she was loud about it. Looking back on things that did happen in like social media and things that were going on, I will say that Caresha was like a little braggy, like boasting, bragging, you know, about it, you know, dating a billionaire, you know, I do kind of do have to agree about that, because there were certain things that I did see that I feel Caresha could have been a little bit more subtle and a little bit more quiet about. And I'm gonna say this here, guys. I mean this with love. I don't mean to say the stuff I'm going to say to tear Caresha down or to make her feel bad. But something that I felt Caresha could have just toned down when, okay, starters, when they were at the award show. I don't know what award show it was, but they gave Puffy like a Lifetime Achievement Award, and Caresha had up the Go Poppy sign. We know at that time that clearly they were dating. She was his woman, he was her man. Okay, we get it. But I kind of feel like Caresha could have just, the Go Poppy sign was just unnecessary. I personally feel. Even when they did Caresha Please together, her and Puffy, there were certain things that I kind of seen that I kind of did side eye. The whole thing of asking him, well, what are we? You know, I feel like if you know that you're dating him and he's dating you, you and him and you are the only two people that need to have that understanding. Everybody else on the internet, everybody else in social media land, that ain't none of their business. They ain't gotta have no explanation. They ain't gotta have no understanding. Long as you and Puffy had that understanding, that's all that matters. Let people stay on the outside talking. And I felt like when you and Puffy, when y'all did the Caresha Please together, when you asked him, so what we is, like, that was just, I didn't like that, because you don't have to do that. Things like that, I feel like either shouldn't be done or should have been toned down and done very subtle. And this even goes for even with other things that I do notice, not just with you, Caresha, but even other, like, other women who date celebrity men or men with money and stuff like that. I've even noticed sometimes when they give women certain things, like materialistic items, some people like to get on social media and brag about it. You don't have to brag about it. Keep it private. What he's giving you, what a man is giving you, ain't nobody else's business. If it's money, if it's cars, if it's a house, whatever it is, keep it off the internet. Keep it out the public. That ain't nobody's business. Something here on my channel that y'all never hear me talk about. Y'all never hear me. Y'all could go through all of the videos here on this channel. You got a couple videos to go through because it's a lot of them. But y'all never hear me talk about who I am in a relationship with, how long me and that person been dating, what's their name. Y'all don't never hear me talk about that stuff. Because of the simple fact, no disrespect, I love y'all. I love my angels. But angels, it ain't none of your business. And whatever that I want you to know, you will know. And what I don't want you to know, you won't know. Simple. Y'all got something with my generation, millennials and Gen Zs. We have to learn sometimes that not everything is made for social media. Next up, business. Now, I can definitely see Caresha and Puffy sitting down or just mainly Puffy just critiquing and tweaking Caresha on things in business that need to be done. I definitely can see that. And when Caresha was sitting there in an interview with Saucy, I definitely believe what she was saying in regards to him, hey, do this far as business, do that far as business. I definitely could see Puffy get Caresha. I can see him getting you together. I can see him really getting you together. Get this together in business. You need this manager. You need that manager. You need this. You need that. I can definitely see Puffy doing that. And just, you know, he did, even though he has some ways and stuff that a lot of us as the public, we don't agree with and how he did things. But he's a businessman. And I'm pretty sure he was spot on with a lot of stuff. So definitely. The next thing that I do agree with, Saucy made this clear. Saucy made it very, very clear. Caresha, you say some mess about you lost your personality. And Saucy made it real clear. Caresha, your personality is what got you to where you are. Your personality and being in the City Girls. Okay? To me, honestly, sometimes when I think about Caresha's personality, I sometimes tend to think about, they're not the same, but I do tend to think about Cardi B. Cardi B's little personality, let's be real, when she's not going off on nobody or snapping at nobody and she's just being funny, we love it. It's kind of somewhat, to me, the same with Caresha. Caresha's personality, we love. Okay? So I do got to agree with Saucy. Your personality is one of the many things that got you to where you are. So no, you ain't lost your personality. You need to, stick with it. Keep it going. There's certain that Miami girl thing that you do have that we love. So no, you ain't lost your personality, Caresha. You just need to keep it going. You may need to tweak certain stuff, like I said, keeping certain things real toned down and keeping it to yourself. But for the most part, Caresha, we love your personality. We really, really do. Next thing. Okay, so Caresha is 30 years old. So Caresha's 30 years old. She was born in 1994. I was born in 1991. I am 32, get ready to turn 33. So something that I just wish, not necessarily toned down, but I really wish Caresha just would have never been doing, and never done at all whatsoever. And I will say this to Caresha: older men, men who are older, men who are much more matured in age, like a Puffy, and many, many others. Something that they don't like. They do not like their business being out in the streets. They don't like that. Something that Caresha did do that kind of probably did make a lot of people think that, as Caresha did say, oh, Caresha, you think you had something, was the whole thing, the argument over, I think it was over Twitter or Instagram, with Gina. Now, Gina, y'all know, I'm going to put a picture in here of Gina so y'all can see Gina. But Caresha and Gina did go at it over social media. Now, something that, Caresha, I really wish you, even in your next relationship, not to do is, number one, older men do not like stuff like that. You don't have to argue with no female, number two. Because if you know you that girl, you don't worry about these other women. You just keep it moving, keep it pushing, and don't pay them no mind. That right there, arguing with Gina, that was a no. That was a no. That was a no. And older men do not like that. An older man likes a woman who, as I did state, they kind of keep stuff private. They not out there showing their behinds and cutting up. A good example of what it is that I'm thinking, Beyonce. You ever notice we don't really, we know what we think and we speculate with what goes on with Beyonce or even Jay-Z, But we don't really know. We don't really know. Because why? You don't never see Beyonce getting up there, cutting up and showing her behind. You will never see Beyonce get out and publicly cut up the way Caresha did with Gina on social media. You'll never see that. You will never see that. When Beyonce, we're going to say allegedly, when Beyonce had an issue with allegedly Becky with the good hair, Beyonce didn't get on the internet and duke it out and fight it out. Beyonce went on down there to that recording studio, and Beyonce, very classy, very subtle, put it in a song and did her nice little album and put a little music on that, and Beyonce made her some money. But Beyonce never got up on social media and cut up. And then when we did see Beyonce out in public, Beyonce still never cut up. Think back to when Beyonce was on the elevator with Solange, Jay-Z, and Julius. Beyonce never cut up. Beyonce held her composure and held everything. So Caresha, that is someone. Beyonce is somebody you got to take note from in regards to certain things. You know, even like I stated with like the little extra perks and stuff that people do get. You never fully hear Beyonce bragging about what Jay-Z done went and bought her. You never hear what Jay-Z gave her. She keep all of that private. She keep all of that quiet. You never hear it. So Caresha, that's somebody definitely. Go pay attention to some things that Beyonce does. Now I understand you ain't gonna do everything like her because you are your own person. But certain little things like that. Keep it quiet, keep it toned down. If you know you're that girl, you ain't gotta argue with nobody. Okay? Or especially on social media. Now something that I do agree with Caresha on is it's going back to handling stuff privately. When Caresha sat there and when Caresha did state that the argument, or I guess the social media battle between JT and whomever else she was arguing with, and JT felt like Caresha didn't show up for her. And then I guess when they had their little spit spat, their little issue, Caresha said something to the effect of, reach out to her. And as long as y'all had that one-on-one conversation between her and JT, I do agree with that. I like that very, very much, because as long as you and JT are on one accord, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter about what nobody else got to say. So I do agree with Caresha on that. Saucy Santana stated that K. Michelle reached out and was just like, you go through what you go through. You come out, you on a high note, then you may go through your little trials and tribulations, and then you shoot back up. Okay. That is true, and K. Michelle was right. But something that I was just like in the beginning, prior to Saucy saying that, I'm thinking to myself, Caresha, you didn't know that stuff like this would, not necessarily your situation, but that something like that would happen. Caresha made us. Okay, so next part that I like, but I didn't understand, like, why Caresha just didn't understand. Caresha, I didn't understand why you didn't comprehend this from the very beginning. And it was said that basically in the world of entertainment, they build you up to tear you down. Saucy did state that K. Michelle reached out, I guess maybe to him and to you, and stated that, hey, what you're going through is something that superstars go through. They come out on a high note, they had a little low moment, and then they shoot back up. I don't understand why not only Caresha, but a lot of the young entertainers of today who are coming out into the music and entertainment industry, why y'all don't understand and comprehend that. This is why I say it is so important to learn from the entertainers who have come before you. Everybody from Michael Jackson to Janet Jackson has always said that. They have always said this industry will build you up, put you up on that pedestal, and then when you come down, they'll tear you down. And then once they done tear you down, then they'll build you right back on up, and then you're off. You're back up on the high note. This is something that I feel all young entertainers need to understand and comprehend. Everybody has gone through that. Every entertainer has gone through that in some way. So I'm not understanding. This is why I will say it is so important to, yes, learn from those who come before you, but if you ever go watch like people's biopics, it's in everybody's biopic. So that's something I don't understand. I feel like also, in my opinion, and I might be wrong, but I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to say it. And if I am wrong, hey, God, forgive me. Y'all forgive me. I feel you have to build yourself up to deal with a lot of that. To deal with fame, period. And I feel like you build yourself up mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Those are like the 3 areas you have to build yourself up to be able to wheel and deal. I feel that mental toughness is something that you really got to work on. And even now, I'm pretty sure Caresha, now that you going through what you're going through, I feel like Caresha now, you are probably starting to do things to get yourself kind of in line and become a little bit more stronger, But it is best if you can. Any other young entertainers out there, aspiring young entertainers, start working on those 3 areas now. Get your mental together. Get your emotional side together. Mentally and spiritually and emotionally. Get those 3 areas. Build yourself up in those 3 areas. And as we all know, one of the best ways to do that is through prayer. Okay? Because prayer does work. Okay? So if I got any people who doubt it, any naysayers, anything like that, baby, prayer, it works. Okay? It works. So definitely, y'all work on that. Caresha, I'm pretty sure you're doing that. Another thing with this interview, I understand, like, they were asking questions. And some of the questions was in this interview, Saucy Santana was asking Caresha questions in regards to the Cassie video that came out. And Saucy was asking Caresha, had she ever gone through anything like that or anything, just anything like that? And Caresha basically stated, no, she had not with Puffy. And, she couldn't really speak on it. Now, we all know that there were, allegedly, there are lawsuits and stuff that has Caresha's name in it. There are lawsuits out here saying that Caresha did allegedly take part in certain things. I personally feel like this right here, because this stuff is ongoing, this may be the reasons why, guys, Caresha probably couldn't really talk about certain things. So saying that to say this, maybe this interview was a little, I guess, premature. Like it was too soon to be for this in this type of interview to have been done. Yeah. So that's my thoughts and my take on that, because there were things that I guess myself and others, we were looking for Caresha to elaborate on a little bit more. But like I stated, it's still an ongoing case. So, of course, she's not going to be able to say too much. So that part of the interview, let's just say that part of the interview probably should have been done some months later on down the line. Maybe even a year, maybe a year and a half later on down the line, when stuff kind of clears up and clears over. Yeah. So, all right, angels. That's my time today for this Turban Tuesdays. Guys, I love you. I thank you for watching. And once again, everything that was done and said in regards to both Karrine and Caresha, once again, it's coming from a place of love, not no hard criticism, not no nastiness, just straight solid love. I love Karrine. I love Caresha. I'm praying for both of y'all, hands down. And also my angels out there who's watching me. I thank y'all. I love y'all. And once again, thank you for watching this Turban Tuesdays. And you guys have a lovely and marvelous day.
Follow Kaniswa on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.